It's John from What Up. Welcome back to another video. And yes, the excitement is real. Tonight is CCXP. Wheel of Time just took the stage. I'm recording this video just after they released a teaser trailer. So the teaser trailer for Season 3 is out right now. And this is my teaser trailer breakdown video. So we're going to walk through the teaser trailer today. We'll show it to you first. Then we'll go through it scene by scene. We'll talk about some things that are happening in there. There's some castings that have been leaked by both myself and Watt series that are confirmed in the teaser. There's a bunch of plot lines confirmed. There's a whole bunch of really neat stuff in there. We're going to pick out all the little Easter eggs for you folks, and we'll talk about it in today's video. So if you're new to the channel, you don't know what we do here. We talk Wheel of Time all the time. Make sure you subscribe if you like that sort of thing. Click that like button, share this around, because I'm going to do my best to break down the trailer for you folks. So without further ado, here is the teaser trailer for Season 3 of Sony and Amazon's Wheel of Time show.
Time. The world is changing.
Who knows how deep the Shadow's roots have taken hold here?
I have seen 1,000 futures. In every future where I lived, Rand dies. And the only way he lives is if I don't. You cannot afford to fail again.
All right, folks, I hope you're as excited and as pumped as I am about this. There was a lot. There was a lot in that teaser. It was only a little over a minute long, and we have a lot to get through here tonight, folks. A lot to break down, a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to do so. So we're going to do that right now. So before we jump into breaking down the teaser, I'm going to go through a spoiler warning here. So basically, we're going to talk up to Book 5. So if you haven't already read the Wheel of Time series, there's going to be a ton of stuff that we're going to talk to up to and including Book 5. That's the Fires of Heaven. That may ruin your enjoyment of the series if you don't know anything about them. But if you're like me and you're watching a breakdown of a teaser trailer, spoilers probably don't matter. Let's face it, folks. You probably don't care. I don't care. But either way, spoiler warning in tonight's video, we are talking elements of the Season 3 teaser trailer for the Wheel of Time. Which means we're going to talk about stuff from both seasons, that's Season 1 and Season 2, things that may happen in Season 3, and we're going to talk about the books as well, because we have to correlate that with events in the book series. So if you have not read The Eye of the World Through the Fires of Heaven, that's books 1 through 5 of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series, be forewarned, going to ruin some stuff in there, and there's some pretty major stuff in there that we're going to talk about tonight. So without further ado, let's jump into talking about these amazing still images from the teaser. All right, folks, little red hands up there, a number 5 in that red hand. We now know that this is spoilers up to the Fires of Heaven. Very important. We're going to walk through the teaser trailer in chronological order. So I'm going to start at the first of the trailer. We're going to work our ways to the very end, and then I want to make sure a lot of these scenes are images that we're going to show you are from the same scenes, but we're going to keep them separate. We're going to keep them in chronological order from the teaser, and we'll talk about them as they relate to one another. And then we're going to talk about the voiceover and how powerful, how important that is at the very end. But yeah, so we're gonna walk through this again. Spoilers abound, but if you're watching a breakdown of a teaser trailer, you probably don't care about spoilers, like I said. So the teaser trailer opens up with what I consider one of the most gorgeous shots I've seen from the Wheel of Time. And when I say that this season, if you're on the fence or you don't like the show because you really read the books and you don't like the changes, this is the season to come back to. If this teaser trailer doesn't invoke some feelings in you to come back and try Season 3, I don't know what will. There's a lot of stuff in here that's really cool. So we open up with a shot of a bunch of Aiel. We see some Maidens of the Spear, someone who is not a Maiden of the Spear at the front. I'm going to guess, and I think this is a pretty good educated guess, it's probably Rourke. He's one of the clan chiefs of the Aiel. He's fairly important to the story, and he will be showing up in Season 3 for you folks just to know. He is definitely in Season 3. And then we have next to him Rand and Moraine, and then behind them someone who I believe to be Lan. Now they're looking down over a hill in the waste to a city shrouded in fog. Now, this is Rhuidean. Rhuidean is really the only real city in the waste. There's lots of places where Aiel live, but they aren't really considered cities by modern standards within the Wheel of Time. this here's a big city. It's in the waste. Shrouded in fog because the one power does that. So that's just typically the way it is. Now, Rhuidean is very important for a number of different reasons, because it's where clan chiefs and wise ones go to become clan chiefs and wise ones. There's a lot of prophecies surrounding it with Rand specifically and the Karakar, the chief of chiefs. There's a lot of prophecies surrounding it in other reasons and other areas. It was so important that the last of the real Aiel founded the city and moved a lot of objects of power there because they knew it would be needed for the last battle and when the world's in trouble. So essentially, this city is very, very important because there's a couple of different Tearing Grail in there. The Wise Ones go through 2 separate Tearing Grail. So the first time a Wise One goes through a Tearing Grail in Rhuidean, they get to see glimpses of their future. It's sort of like, a little bit like the testing Ingrail that you see, or Tearing Grail that you see within the tower, where they see glimpses of possible futures and things like that, and they're living through them. Only there's so many to count, they kind of all fuzz out and blend together, but they give them a general sense of things that they need to do in life and things that are very, very important. It gives them that sense of, this is something that has to be done. And they do remember a little bit of it. This is important because we have a couple of people that are going to go enter Rhuidean in the 3rd season. The first one's going to be Evienda. She is leaving the Maidens of the Spear and is becoming a Wise One because she can channel, among a bunch of other reasons. She's strong leadership skills, and essentially when the Wise Ones pick someone for training, they go training. So she goes in there and she's going to go through that Tearing Grail to see glimpses of her future, which basically makes her hate Rand for a bunch of different reasons. But Moraine also goes through there because she knows that it's one of those things, she has to go into Rhuidean, she has to go through this Tearing Grail, and that's what the voiceover of the entire teaser trailer is about. We'll get into that at the end. But the clan chiefs also go in there. They go through a different Tearing Grail first, so they only go through one. Clan chiefs go in, they go through one. It shows them the history of the Aiel through their ancestors' eyes, and Wise Ones go through 2. The first one, glimpses of the future. Second one, they also see the history of the Aiel through their ancestors' eyes. And this is a hard thing for the Aiel, and less men make it through alive than women because they find out that basically they're all living sort of a lie. The original Aiel were more akin to the Tinkers than anything else. They followed the way of the leaf. They were servants of the Aes Sedai. They put a lot of stock in acts of servitude. They had a lot of honor, just like they do now, but it was a very different way. They would never touch a weapon. They would never defend themselves. They never even consider that. That's really hard for a lot of the clan chiefs who go through. Not all of them make it out alive. Far less of the Wise Ones who get to that point have a problem with it, but some still do. And not everyone comes out alive because they can't handle the truth of their people. But this is an absolutely amazing shot. We know that Rhuidean is going to be a pivotal point in Season 3. Rafe has talked about it a couple of different times in interviews, and every single book reader I know has been saying, I want to see this on screen. I want to see those scenes where Rand goes through the glass columns and he sees the history of the Aiel because he is Aiel through his ancestors' eyes. That's happening. We've done a few videos here on the channel about it. He is going to see that, and you're going to see all the way back right to the Age of Legends where his people did serve the Aes Sedai. So very, very neat. And I'm glad they opened with this because absolutely gorgeous shot. All right, next up we have Moraine. Now, Moraine here is covered in sand. And this is likely just before she collapses or just when she wakes up from collapsing going through the Tearing Grail in Rhuidean. It's my guess anyway. And then Rand carries her out of the city. Now, that's not exactly how it happened in the books. Rand came back first. So Rand and Mat went in. Didn't see Mat anywhere there. And like I said in a few of my leaked videos, he's not there. He doesn't go into Rhuidean in the 3rd season as far as I'm aware. But Rand goes in and they come out first. Moraine... And then Avienda comes out, and then Moraine doesn't come out till much, much later. And when she comes out, Lan is the one that races down the hill, picks her up, and carries her back towards the Aiel camp. We've seen in the poster, and we've seen in images later on in this teaser, that Rand is the one that does that. So a little bit different there, but it does make kind of sense that since they're really focusing on Moraine and Rand for this season, for these scenes, that he would be the one to do that, and Lan wouldn't do that. But either way, I think that's what this particular scene is from. After she sees the multitude of possible futures, this is how she wakes up, and we get to see a lot of them in this teaser. Next is this scene here. Now this is a little bit odd. I'm trying to place it. I zoomed in. The problem with it is the teaser trailer is is great quality, but it's not good enough quality to get as far into it as you need to see all of the details. You have a lot of different people in colored clothing, and my first thought was, well, these are all Aes Sedai, but they're not all women. There's a lot of men in these scenes too. You have the 3 statues in the background, and the group of people in the center that are walking kind of look like Windfinders to me. They kind of look like the I'm not 100% sure, but I think they might be. I think they might be the Sea Folk. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's kind of the vibe I got from the way they're walking. And the person in the middle is wearing pants, which is not a thing that most women do in the Wheel of Time. And I believe it's a group of women in the center walking towards the camera. If you folks have seen anything different about this, and I'm sure there's tons of other breakdown videos out there right now. I'm not watching any of them, and I'm not looking at anybody else's stuff. I'm trying to break this down myself. And it's something a little bit different, let me know. But this is one of the very few scenes in the teaser that kind of stumped me a little bit. If I had to guess, I would have guessed maybe Andor, maybe the tower, maybe Rhuidean. None of those things seem right to me, but I do think that that's Sea Folk in the center. Everyone else in the picture, they're all wearing very colorful clothes, but it's not really Aes Sedai colors, at least not completely, I don't think. And there are a lot of men interspersed with the crowd there, so it's definitely something important, but I don't know exactly what it is, and it does sort of kind of have the feel of an Age of Legends vibe to me too, so I'm not totally sure. You folks let me know in the comments down below what you think is coming out of this particular image from the teaser. It's one of those things that I still haven't been able to figure out. Next we have Moraine. Now if you take a look at this shot here, what's important about this is she's back in Tar Valon. So remember she was banished in a previous season and sworn the Oath Rod, which I thought was incredibly strange at the time, but I think it was just to make her return all the more powerful. Maybe she is asked to by Swan. She would have to be asked to by Swan to come back to help, but she is in Tar Valon here. So this scene, I believe, because you take a look at the background of this particular shot is the architecture in the Tar Valon set. I believe that perhaps everybody goes back to Tar Valon at the beginning of the season. They're all there, and then the tower coup happens, which we see parts of, I believe, in this particular teaser. And then at that point is when everybody kind of disperses out and goes their own ways, including Moraine, Lan, and Rand going up to the waist with Egwene. That's my guess anyway, but this is important because she is back in Tar Valon, and she is dressed in her signature blues, so she is definitely going to see someone in Tar Valon as an Aes Sedai. Next we have this shot of Rand. I just thought it was interesting because he is incredibly clean cut. He is wearing nice clothes. And the background is super fuzzed out, but white. It's hard to tell what it is. I'm going to guess this is likely one of the dream sequences that Moraine got to see her future from. If that's the case, Rand could be a noble, he could be the dragon at this point, he could be any of the other things. But it's definitely odd to see Rand dressed in this fashion, in this way, because he's usually wearing pretty cruddy clothes for the most part, except when he saw the Amberlin in Season 2. He was dressed up fairly nice for that. But other than that, he doesn't really wear things of high quality. And in the book series, it took him a long time to get to the point where he actually didn't mind those type of clothes. So I believe this is likely from one of the dream sequences. He looks pretty cleaned up here. And you notice his hair is longer, so I think that has to do with the time jump, or perhaps just the future, looking into the future. Again, another shot of Lan. This is in the waist. We know that Lan is in the waist with him. We've seen it in the very first shot of the teaser, and we do see it again later on when him and Rand are training with the sword. We'll talk about that. But it's good to know that they're keeping the major beats of the story in line, and Lan is there, and that he actually starts mentoring Rand while he's in the waist. That makes me super happy, super excited. It was one of the big things about the books I really liked was Lan and Rand's relationship. And let's face it, folks, it does factor heavily into things later on in the story, and it would be some major changes if it didn't happen. He doesn't look incredibly happy there. I'm going to guess this is probably when Moraine has to leave him behind to go down to Rhuidean. He can't go to protect her. My guess, but same time of day, same everything else with the very first shot of the teaser, so he's probably being explained that. Probably pretty angry. This one here, we didn't really see a Dark Friend social like we did in the books. I mean, we kind of did in Season 2 at the very beginning with Ashamael and that little girl. Very cool, but not quite the same. This, I believe, is another Dark Friend social. Most of the people in the background have their faces covered. Not everyone does. There's a couple of people back there that are showing their faces bare, and Leandrin definitely did have her face covered at the beginning of this, and she's pulling down her veil to uncover her face, and she is fully dressed in the red Aja's finery. So my guess is this is a Dark Friend social, perhaps in the Tenchico storylines. It does not look like tower architecture in the background to me. I could be totally wrong about that, but I know that Leandrin is very heavily involved in the Tenchico storyline for season 3. My guess is this is something that's likely happening there, and I'm hoping it's when Moghedien reveals themselves to them, because that would be absolutely just amazing. All right, next up we have Elayne. Our first shot of Elayne for season 3. We haven't seen any images of her really. We do know that she is also heavily featured in the Tenchico storyline, but she does have to go back to the tower first. But this here is her putting a crown on. Now, we know that she is the daughter heir in the books, and she's also the daughter heir in the show, and that her mother, at some point or another, who is queen, does show up in the show too. I can't tell you too much of what happens with her storyline because it goes well beyond book 5 as far as spoilers, but there is a fairly large storyline with Morghese, Elayne's mother, in the books. But I find it odd that she's putting a crown on at this point. So it's either just for show, it's possibly a future, but she's wearing the novice white. My guess is, and this is a guess, it's going to be a change for the show. I'm thinking she's heard something about her mother, and perhaps she's being coronated afar in Andor, and she's had to go back because we know there's some Andoran scenes at some point or another. That's kind of a stretch, though. I don't really think Elayne travels back to Andor, because we know that she goes to the tower with everybody at the first of the season. We know she goes to Tenchico afterwards. So if you look at the columns in the background, sort of looks like the same carvings you see in the White Tower. Why she's putting the crown on and why it seems to be kind of alone at night with candles lit, I'm not 100% sure in that. Perhaps they've heard news of her mother, and this has been brought to her so she can be crowned as queen. That would be a super acceleration of certain parts of the story, I think. But my guess is that this might be what's happening here in this scene. All right, then we have this scene here. Again, take a look at those columns in the background. We can go back and forth here, but those columns in the background match exactly that column behind Elayne here. So she is still in the tower in this scene, not in Andor at all. Same as the windows. Those windows there, same windows. And not this room, so definitely not the Amyrlin's, where the Amyrlin is sitting on the Amyrlin seat, but she's definitely there. So here we have the Amyrlin sitting on her throne, and then next to her is who I believe is Egwene. That's my guess. So here's the thing, though, folks. The Amyrlin sitting on the Amyrlin seat is wearing red, and the person next to her is, I thought, Egwene, and I tried to enhance this as best I could, zoomed in, did everything I could to see it better. You can't really see their faces. It's kind of hard. So I am of two minds of this. We know the Tower Coup is happening next season. We know that Elaida takes over as Amyrlin within the book series. We know that she chooses Keeper, Alvarin, who's a white. So this could be Swan and a novice, or an accepted, because they're wearing the white dress. But would Swan wear a long flowing red gown? I don't 100% know. So I've zoomed in as best I can on this, and it's hard to tell the features of both the faces of these people. So this could either be, in my guessing, who knows how deep the Shadow's roots have taken hold here. This could be Elaida and Alvarian. I'm not 100% sure in that, but with the voiceover, what they're saying there, and the fact that you can't really make out their faces no matter how much you enhance it, this is a possibility. Now, Elaida is going to be played by Shorg Dishlu in season 3. It's entirely possible that is her sitting on the throne with Alvarian next to her, although my very first thought, seeing the teaser, and I watched it a few times, was that it was Swan and Egwene. But again, I really don't know, folks. It's hard to tell when they do these faraway shots. I'm not saying they're intentionally blurring this, but it is certainly not near as high quality as it could be. So to make out features of people and faces from that far away, it becomes a little difficult sometimes. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Those are my two guesses for this scene. I'll let you folks fight it out in the comments down below, and whichever one wins, if we find out later on, of course, we'll let you know, but whichever one wins, let me know. Next, we have this. So if you notice, this is Moraine with a small crystal ball weaving power through it. I did a video on this. This is Sarkinen. Now, it's also one of the Chosen Call. So one of the leaks that I got here on the channel was that she found a small glowing crystal sphere within Rhuidean. It was actually within the Tree of Life, in the Chora tree that's there. And she does grab it, and she does channel through it. And this scene is directly, word for word, the same scene that was described to me. So that crystal ball is named Sarkinen in the show for whatever reason. Sarkinen is a sangreal that Demander used in the last battle. That was really kind of fleshed out in a short story by Brandon Sanderson. Those aren't huge spoilers. I won't talk too much more about that. But they renamed this crystal ball Sarkinen, but it's also one of the Chosen Calls. This is one of the access keys to the Chosen Call, where you can channel vast amounts of power through, and they're very, very important to the books. I won't tell you exactly how or why, because we don't go beyond book 5 spoilers, of course, but that's what this scene is depicting, and it's also very important for season 3. Again, if you want to watch my video on that, it is in the exclusives playlist on my channel, and it's called Objects of Power. So next we have this. So this is Egwene along with Lyanna and Swan, and they are there for Egwene's accepted testing. So she's being raised to accepted. It happens within the book series, and we're going to see it on screen again for season 3, which makes me very happy. I was worried we wouldn't, but here we are. If you take a look at this, Swan is definitely not wearing a giant red dress, and her keeper is definitely not wearing white. So again, that last scene that we talked about makes me think more and more we're looking at Elaida and Elarian, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Not totally, but it does help. But we do get to see Egwene's raised to accepted, which is really cool. I'm glad they're doing that. I was a little worried they wouldn't, because I know she has to go to the Waste next season, but I think all of this, I think most of what we're seeing, folks, is within the first episode or 2. I don't think we get very, very far in here. There are some scenes later on with Perrin. I think they're mid-season, but I think most of this stuff is from the first episode or 2. They're not giving away too much, folks. All right, this. Take a look at the columns in the background. They're all crystal columns, and these are Rand's boots, folks. This is him going through the glass columns within Rhuidean, stepping forward. And every step forward, he zips back to an ancestor further and further back in time. We get to see them all. I did detail them here on the channel. What we do get to see, Rand plays most of his ancestors, everything from his birth all the way back to the Age of Legends. So we do get to see that within the context of the show, and I'm very excited for those scenes, folks. It's going to be absolutely amazing. All right, now we get this beautiful shot of Egwene and Rand laying on a rug in what is likely one of the Aiel tents. Because Egwene is dressed up in what a Wise One's apprentice would wear, and they're just kind of hanging out. Neither one of them look very happy. They look very surprised to be there, so I don't know exactly the context of the scene, but we do know that they really did try to play up the love triangle between Rand, Perrin, and Egwene in the first season. For whatever reason, it wasn't one of the aspects I really enjoyed of the season, but they did, and then in the second season, they didn't really dive too much back into Rand and Egwene's relationship, because they weren't on screen together for more than a few minutes the entire season. My guess is when they get to the Waste, they have some downtime and alone time, that's when they really start diving into it, and you find out that they're no longer going to be a thing, which happens earlier than book 4, I would say, in the series. There's lots of hints of it anyway, but having it happen on screen, I think, is very important, because most people who haven't read the books that are watching the show still think that they're probably a couple, or will be a couple. They're definitely not, folks. That's not a thing in the book series. Not a spoiler beyond book 5 either. So there's that. But yeah, really nice scene there. They both look awkward, maybe a little. Rand looks scared to me, and if that kind of indicates maybe they're having a serious conversation that he really does want to have. Next we have this again. Oh, this just warms the cockles of my heart. This makes me so happy. Seeing Rand training with Lan. One of the big things that I really took away as a young man when I read these series, and it's not the same for everybody. Everybody gets different things out of the series, 100%. But for me personally, was the relationship between Lan and the three boys, Rand, Perrin, and Mat. Mostly Rand, because Lan was basically a surrogate father to him, taught him a lot of things, taught him how to be a man, so to speak, and that was a very big part of the core of Rand's character for a very long time in the book series, and it did come back later on. Those teachings that Lan gave him were very, very important. Much later in the book series, we won't get into why, because again, spoilers for book 5, folks. But I was a little upset that they didn't get into it in season 1 or season 2. I understand why. There really wasn't time. They were truncating things. People were off in different spots. They had problems with production. They had problems with people leaving. They had to change some things. Storyline was rewritten. All of those things took precedence, of course. Getting to see this on screen, this is going to be a tearjerker moment for me. I think I'll be sitting there silently crying in the corner, watching these scenes, and it'll make me very, very happy. Happy cries, of course. But again, we are going to get to see this relationship start to blossom on screen for season 3, and it makes me very, very happy. All right, here we go. We have Rand walking through the waste. These sands are absolutely gorgeous, and we had quite a few set pictures from when they were filming on location in South Africa for this. And who's he with? I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. Somebody with a very long cloak. They look to be wearing Catan Sor, which is Aiel garb, and that is sort of an Aiel colored cloak as well, that is kind of like flopping around him. I'm not 100% who this person is next to him. Could be literally anyone. But Rand is walking, and Rand is wearing the same coat that he wore in the poster when he went to Rhuidean and when he was laying down with Egwene. So this could be a dream sequence as well, because the sands in the dream sequence are bone white like this, and there's a lot of scenes in this teaser trailer that are dream sequences where Lanfear and Moraine are involved. So this is quite possibly that. I think this is more likely in the waste, an actual shot, not in a dream sequence. Who's next to him, though? Is it Rourke? Is it someone else? I don't think so. I don't see any spears. I don't see any weapons. It looks to be Aiel garb, though. So it's up for debate, folks. Let me know in the comments down below who you think that is standing next to him. I'd love to say it's Moraine, or perhaps one of the other Forsaken that's we're going to see in season 3, and we are seeing more than Malkedian and Lanfear for sure. There's already been hints at Samael and a few others, and we think Asmodean's in the 3rd season, but we're not 100% sure. No hints of that just yet. So let me know in the comments down below who you think this is walking next to Rand. Another picture here of Rand and Moraine. Can't tell you if this is pre or post Rhuidean. I believe it's likely pre Rhuidean. And talking to 2 wise ones in the foreground. Again, I love the attention to detail to the tents, to the wise one's garb, to the waste itself. The waste itself looks picture perfect for the waste as far as I'm concerned. I'm very, very excited about seeing that. The little bushes, the little like kind of like desert type things, the bone white sand, exactly how I imagined it in my mind, and I'm very excited to see the rest of that on screen. I get to see Evan de Sora. This is the Tree of Life, folks. This is a very important thing. It's in the center of Rhuidean. It's a Chora tree. It's a tree that just exudes peace, happiness, and well-being. I think the quote from the books was, "A city is a wilderness without Chora trees," and this is the last surviving Chora tree in the Wheel of Time world, and it's cool that we get to see it like this, and it's just a quick shot. Got to see it. Also, a couple other parts of the trailer, but a very quick shot at this within the shrouded fog of Rhuidean. Very neat to see, and I'm excited to see it in its full glory for the 3rd season. Now we're getting some of these dream sequences. Rand dies. Yeah, well, Rand dies here. You can see he's been stabbed, it looks like, by his own sword. I don't think he's been stabbed by his own sword. That looks to be the wound in his side that just will not heal. We've seen him receive that wound in the 2nd season. It's the one that breaks open multiple times throughout the book series. We won't get into further on, but up to book 5, he's troubled by it the whole time. It's a wound given to him by Samael in the book series with a staff. A little bit different in the show. However, it is a wound that just won't heal. It's full of evil, like pus, and it looks like it broke open there, and he's bleeding. He's dying, and Moraine is holding him. Moraine's dressed to the nines too, folks. Like she's super dressed up. My guess is she is still nobility in this possible future, and perhaps not an Aes Sedai. Or maybe an Aes Sedai and nobility at the same time. Maybe she's queen of Carrion. I don't know. It's entirely possible. Either way, one of the many futures that Moraine's seeing, where we know we're going to see a lot of these on screen, and a ton of them are here depicted here in the teaser. So here you have Lanfear choking Moraine. Looked amorous at first, and then it turned south real quick from the looks of things. Then we go on here. She's getting choked again by Lanfear. Again, the same bone white sand that we see in a lot of the dream sequences from season 2. Do I think this is a dream sequence where Moraine is pulled into the dream and is being killed by Lanfear? No, I don't think so. I think this is one of the possible futures that she's seeing, just like flicker, 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 flickers going through all of these different dream sequences. Again, here, this looks to be in the streets of Tar Valon, Moraine dying again. I think we're going to see Moraine die a lot in the 3rd season, especially during these dream sequences. Who's behind her there? That looks to be Lanfear once again. Lanfear keeps killing her over and over again because she's close to Rand, because Lanfear gets very upset about that. I think the quote from the books is, "Who is she?" And it's kind of neat that they're really playing into this really hard. We're going to get into this in a second, folks. Well, at the very end of the teaser, when we finish talking about all of the different images, we'll talk about what Moraine is saying during this teaser. It's very, very important to the book series, very, very important to, I think, the 3rd season. I think they're accelerating some stuff. There's a reason I'm giving Fires of Heaven spoilers, folks. If you've read the books, you know what I'm talking about. Now, here we have one of our very first real casting reveals. So, Emmanuel Amani did play one of Alana's warders in season 1 and season 2. He is not playing the warder for season 3. There's lots of rumors, lots of conjecture, lots of different things happening where we've talked about it here on the channel. Watt Series has talked about it. It's been talked about in the fandom where we don't believe he returned for season 3. And there was some talk of a separate actor, Anthony Kay, who is depicted here, that may be taking his role for season 3 for whatever reason. This here, we get to see Maxim, which is played by Taylor Napier. We get to see Alana, which is played by Priyanka Bose, and then we get to see Anthony Kay, also standing there playing Alana's other warder, Ivan. Now, I couldn't tell you why this has happened, but this is a pretty important scene. Now, we do know that in the book series, one of Alana's warders does die, and it just super messes her up for a long time. And it's one of the very first instances we get to see on page of a warder dying and how the Aes Sedai reacts. This is tied right up into a scene we're going to see in a little bit. We'll talk about that. But that gentleman over there, first casting that leaked by Watt Series, weren't quite sure of his role. Confirmed here. He's playing one of Alana's warders as far as I'm concerned. And very neat. Now take a look at this scene. Alana's in the tower. Those are tower grounds. That is outside of the tower. This is Tar Valon, and she's using the 1 power. Maxim has a sword out. He's bloody. They're in full fight mode, folks. This is, I believe, scenes from the tower coup. At least partially. I don't think we're going to see the tower coup exactly like it was depicted on the pages of the book. I think it's going to have a lot more to do with the Black Aja, unlike the book series. But I think this is what we're seeing here, and it goes right into some other scenes we'll see in a second. See her there? She is blasting that power. I love the way they depict the power, especially from season 1, where very little was shown on screen, very basic weaves, no color. And then as people got more experience with the show, as the people who are viewing it, like Egwene, Nynaeve, Elayne, people who are just learning the power, and we're learning it along with them, we start to see the flows, start to see the colors. So here you're seeing wind, you're seeing fire. Very neat. I like this. And you can see Anthony Kay with the sword out there too. So they're definitely fighting somebody. This is in Tar Valon. I believe it's probably something to do with the Tower coup. Now here, this is another scene. A little dark to see exactly what's going on here. But we have someone in the bed. I'm not 100% sure who is laying in the bed. But then you have 2 silvery looking T-1000 folks. One on the bed over top of the person laying down. And one on the ground. Now, we did see a few scenes of people laying in bed, like Moraine and stuff earlier, but I don't believe that's who that is. It's hard to tell. Try to enhance it, whatnot. The person standing in the middle of the room is Rand. That is his signature color of pretty much everything he weaves in the show, all around him. And what is he doing? He's busting mirrors. Now, In the book series, I believe it's the Dragon Reborn, there is a time when Rand fights his own reflections. The reflections all come alive as a bubble of evil, and he has to fight himself. And they're coming out of the mirrors. And as he smashes the mirrors, they get smaller and smaller and smaller from the little bits of mirror around the room. I don't know if you've ever seen Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell, but that is pretty much the exact same thing that happens there. He fights an image of himself, and he smashes the mirrors, and they all get smaller, and he has to stomp them all out and pour hot tea on them and stuff like that. Rand gets to use the power here. But those silvery folks, I think, are reflections of himself, and I think this is that same scene, that bubble of evil, which makes me very excited, because this is something else I want to see. I want to start seeing bubbles of evil on screen, and seeing this one, this makes me very happy. All right, next up. This is a super important scene, and there's two shots here. We'll go to this one first. This one here, Golden Bowl. This is Alcardal. This is where the clan chiefs would go to talk, and it's a very important place to the Aiel. It's where you can go and you can be heard for the whole bowl. Everyone around you can see all the other chiefs. It's not exactly how it's depicted in the books, but I think this is a good rendition of it. And he's there to talk to clan chiefs and wise ones. You can see the wise ones off to the right hand side there, and the people sitting down look to be clan chiefs for the most part. Not everyone, not every chair is occupied, just like the book series. By the time he gets there, Couladin has already spoken to the clan chiefs. We go back here, gentleman behind Rand there, that's 100% Couladin. 100% Couladin. He is a gentleman who is a pretty big part of the first few books of the series. He is an Aiel who will never be chosen to be clan chief, will never be chosen to leave his lead the Shaido, his people. However, he enters Rhuidean by himself anyway. He goes through. He never actually enters the Tearing Grail. There is a Forsaken in the book series, a Asmodean, who gives him the dragons on his arms. And the significance of those dragons is twofold. So one dragon means that you're clan chief. It means you've gone through the Tearing Grail, you've seen the history of the Aiel, you know what's going on. You're clan chief. Two dragons is a Karakarn, the prophesized chief of chiefs of the Aiel that will unite the Aiel and lead them out of the Threefold Land, or the Aiel Waste. And Couladin ends up with two dragons. He shows up here and he proclaims himself before everyone's there, which is a huge breach of protocol. Makes a lot of people angry, but he does it anyway. And then Rand, a Wetlander, Aiel, not by, like, he was not raised Aiel, but Aiel by birth, shows up as well, listens to Couladin rant and rave about taking them back to glory and washing over out of the Threefold Land, and just like taking everything, kind of conquering the world is basically what he was getting to. And then Rand pulls up his sleeves. He also has them. And then he lets everyone know the true history of the Aiel. And it just absolutely breaks everyone in pandemonium. They're all mad. Clan chiefs and the wise ones go, yep, Rand's it. He knows the real thing. And Couladin doesn't agree with them. And it causes a major rift in the Aiel in the book series for a very long time. Then Couladin becomes a pretty major driving force. The Shaido Aiel, they're not dark friends, folks, but they're basically bad guys in the book series, because they're opposing Rand and everything he stands for. So really neat. We get to see Couladin here. I have some thoughts on who's playing him, but we're not going to get into that today. That's for another video. But you do get to see the two dragons on his arms, which are very, very neat. And you do get to see all of the Aiel in attendance here. And this is the Golden Bowl, where they're discussing and talking and pronouncing themselves, which makes me very, very happy. Can't wait to see that. All right, folks. Now we're getting into another revealed casting. This gentleman right here is Callum Kerr. He was sort of leaked as Galad by WatSeries.com a long time ago now, but there was some debate on what and how that would be, because on his CV he was listed as playing Galad Trakan, which we know Galad is not a Trakan in the book series. He is a Daemodrit. So there's some argument, discussion, whether things were wrong or they kind of changed things to make it a little bit easier for the show, because if they had a Daemodrit as his last name, it turns into that whole family thing with Moraine that you don't really learn about too much later on in the book series. It's kind of a convoluted mess. I don't think they're going to be doing that stuff. So I think they just made Galad a Trakan. But either way, this is Callum Curry. He's a Scottish actor, and he's playing Galad in the third season. And this is sort of his big reveal. Again, a leaked casting that WatchSeries.com leaked. Again, proven 100% accurate, and really neat to see. And this is Galad in the Warder training grounds. I'm kind of hoping this is when him and Gowan are fighting Matt. We know Gowan's also in the third season. No hint or clues to who that would be or who's playing him just yet. Trust me, folks. If I knew, I would let you guys know because Gowan's my favorite character. But there is a scene within, I believe it's The Dragon Reborn, where Matt is still sick from being healed from being connected to the dagger. He is rail thin. He walks down to the Warder training grounds, grabs a quarterstaff, and kind of leans on it for support, and then makes a few quips about the two boys that are fighting there, Gowan and Galad. And then they make a bet that they could beat him, that he could beat both of them at once, and he does. He thumps the crap out of both of them, and they're both at that point essentially Blade Masters. So really hoping we get to see that scene next season. Well, not hoping. I know we will. Rafe Judkins has mentioned it a couple of times in interviews that we will get to see it. In fact, I posed a question directly to him on Twitter one day, and he did reply, said, yep, they're going to do it in a way that makes sense for the context of the story, but we're seeing that fight. So really neat we get to see this. Second confirmed casting of the teaser. Really happy we get to see this. Now, folks, who's this? And what is he doing? This appears to be Perrin. And Perrin is forging an axe. We do get to see that axe later on in the teaser trailer. But I'm going to say that Perrin is likely at home in the Two Rivers at this point because most of Perrin's storyline in the third season takes place in the Two Rivers. He heads back there because he knows White Cloaks are there looking for him, harassing his friends and family, and he's basically going to give himself up. And yeah, folks, we know it doesn't work out that way. But one of the big complaints a lot of people, especially hardcore book readers, have had about Perrin in the show is he doesn't really have an axe. Not really. He's picked one up, and it's been kind of like a little Easter egg here and there where he's had one, but he doesn't have an axe in the show. He is forging one here, and he is forging one that is almost identical to the one I pictured in my mind that he had in the book series, the big Half Moon Blade. We get to see it later on, and we'll show you that, folks, when we get to there in the teaser. But this is Perrin forging his axe, and it just warms my heart to see. Like I said, folks, if you're on the fence about the show, or even if you don't like the show and you've read the books, third season, come back. Try it out. Give the first 3 episodes a chance March 13th when they drop, and I believe none of you will be disappointed. All right, next scene here we have Lyanna. Lyanna appears to be in the chambers in her tower, and she does not look very happy. My guess is this is probably during the tower coup. In the book series, we know that Swan ends up being stilled, and so does Lyanna, and held prisoner, and then they're rescued by Logain. They're not rescued by Logain. They're rescued by Min. Min basically helps them escape with Gowan's help. Gets them out of the Valon, and then on the way out, they gather up Logain, who's kind of wandering aimlessly, and then they escape. Don't think that's going to play out that way in the third season. I do believe at least one of the people I just mentioned are going to die, if not more, during the tower coup, during the stilling. I think that's a thing. I think it's going to happen. I think we're losing Swan next season, folks. That's my prediction. No evidence whatsoever to back that up. It's just a prediction. I think that's going to happen because Sophie Okonedo's schedule is very hard to work around. She is a very popular actress, does a lot of stage work. Hard to get her on screen for a bunch of times, and a bunch of cast members and people have said that during interviews that she's a treat and a wonder to work with, but her schedule is just so hectic. So my guess is that she may not last beyond season 3. Just a guess though, folks. Either way, I hope she doesn't. I hope she stays because I love her and I love the relationship that they've shown with her and Moraine on screen, and hope we get more of that, but it would make sense to me. Either way, I think this is a scene during the tower coup where she's just finding out, or maybe she's being captured. I'm very excited to see that part on screen, and I think it's going to happen in the first episode, folks. I think it's going to be wild. The first episode is going to be just wild. Shot of Matt. Matt has some wounds on his neck here. They don't look like, to me, hanging wounds. They do look more like fingernail scratches, where somebody maybe had him around the throat. I'm not 100% sure what this is from. He looks enthralled. He looks like he's looking at the dagger, folks. And you can see some of the lattice work in the windows in the background. This is, I believe, in the tower, definitely at night. I don't know if this is when he's getting healed, folks, or if this is something different, but I think he's in the tower in the scene, and I definitely think something had happened there I don't know what that is around his neck. If you guys can let me know, I don't think that's a hanging scar. I don't believe so. I think it's something a little bit different. Let me know in the comments down below what you folks think. I'm a little stumped on this one too. All right, our first real good look at Malkedian for season 3, and she's with Liandrin, and Malkedian looks unhappy with Liandrin. Very excited to see Malkedian season 3. The last scene of season 2 that had her in it was glorious. I think she is going to just be, I think she's going to steal the show. Season 3, I think any scene that she's in, she's going to steal the show. Softly, softly from the shadows. Oh, I had chills watching that scene from season 2. We're going to see more of Malkedian in season 3. We know that she's in the Tenchiko storyline. We know we're getting that scene with her and Nynaeve kind of staring each other down. I'm very excited about that, folks, and I hope you guys are too. Now we're going to see a little bit of relationship here. This is Moraine and Swan again in the fisherwoman's hut. Probably using the Tearing Grail to go there again like they did in season 1, so they have a few moments together. Very sweet scene. I'm glad we're going to see a little bit more of this. But this leads into a couple of other scenes. And our third confirmed casting, folks. This is Perrin and Aiel. And the lady playing Aiel is none other than Isabella Bucari. She is an Italian actress, and I revealed her role here on the channel well over a year ago now. I think season 2 was still live when I did an episode on her and Shore Dishalu as Elida. But yeah, so she's actually revealed now within the teaser, and I'm very, very excited to see her on screen and see her play Aiel. In my mind, she is bloody near perfect as Aiel. Aiel's my second favorite character in the book series. Gallon and Aiel, I know, folks. I know. We won't talk too much about that. But they are my favorite characters, folks. And I can't wait to see her play the character on screen. Makes me very, very happy. As we get a shot of Elayne. Elayne is wearing a head wrap at some point here for whatever reason. I have seen some images behind the scenes of her wearing a similar outfit in the Tenchiko storyline, so I'm not 100% sure, but I would guess that this is during that storyline, during when they're in Tenchiko. Don't know why she looks so upset. But neat that we get to see her for a second time in the teaser. And she does not look as well put together as she normally does. Not as regal. She looks kind of like she's in a bad spot right here. So I think this might be when she's finding out some real bad news. Or maybe even seeing the Dark Friends for the first time in Tenchiko. I don't know. But pretty sure this is a scene from Tenchiko. Now, folks, we're harkening back to the very beginning of the teaser trailer when we got to see Alana and her 2 warders fighting people in the streets of Tar Valon. This is who she's fighting. You have Liandrin just covered in blood, and that is 100% Alana. That is the same hair jewelry and earrings that Alana wears, and they are fighting each other with the power in the streets of Tar Valon. And I think what did Ray Dragon say? The first 15 minutes of season 3 is bonkers. I think that's what he meant. I think we're getting the Tower Coup first 15 minutes. I think it's going to be, everybody gets there, everybody kind of talks a little bit, then it's just going to go wild. It's just going to be absolutely bonkers for 15, 20 minutes. It'll calm down, people will start on their way. But very neat that we get to see Liandrin fighting Alana here. I have been waiting for the reveal that Liandrin's a dark friend to the other Aes Sedai, and she's taken a task for it. Liandrin is definitely a character from the book series that most people didn't feel much empathy for, didn't like very much, didn't really care too much about. Very different for the show. Liandrin has definitely done way better in the show than she was in the books, and I can't wait to see her. Here we go, folks. Perrin, full armor, just covered in blood, in the 2 rivers. That's the 2 rivers set in the background. Trollocs, you can see a few outlines of Trollocs and people definitely fighting in the background. He's screaming. There's his axe. Told you he has an axe. Told you it's a half moon. Told you it looks just like it does in my head. I don't know if it looks like it does in your head or not, but I am very excited about this. The 2 Rivers plotline, folks, again, if you're on the fence about the 3rd season, even if you hated the first 2 seasons, come back for season 3, give it the first 3 episodes a shot. You're not going to be disappointed. Everything I've seen just makes me so excited for season 3. And here we have Alana, over top of someone crying. Very upset. Another Tower Coup scene. That is the Tower grounds, or the Tar Valon grounds in the background there. We know one of her warders dies in the book series. I would put dollars to no one else. It's Ivan. I would not say Maxim probably dies. This is probably the scene where he dies, and we get to see some of the grieving process, which leads to something that happens much later on in the book series with Alana. Because we'll get into that because it's beyond book 5 spoilers, but she does become very unhinged when it comes towards warders and whatnot. and her Aes Sedai calm is definitely broken a fair bit after she loses the water in the book series. We're going to see a lot of that next season, and I'm very, very excited to see that. All right, folks, here is a couple shots here. So this shot, and then a little bit brighter. I brightened it up here. I believe this is one of Moraine's futures. Looks like Moraine's had her hair cut and shaved a little bit there. And behind her, this looks to be in the ways, we have Lanfear, Evil Nynaeve, Evil Rand, Evil Matt, Evil Elayne, Moghedian, Evil Perrin, Evil Egwene. They are all there, and they are just following Lanfear, kicking Moraine's butt. Again, probably one of those possible futures where they all turn to the dark. Very excited to see these little scenes. I think it's going to be very, very neat. And here we go, harkening back to the poster. At dawn, leaving Rhuidean, coming up the hill, carrying Moraine. Rand comes up. Can't see the dragons on his hands here, or on his forearms rather, but you do see them in the poster. So this comes right into that. We're back to the first, folks. All right, folks. Wild. The whole teaser, wild. I have yet to dive into the Q&A that's happening right now on the Thunder stage. It's been happening. It's done now. I've been making this video for you folks, but that'll happen. You'll get a video on the Q&A. You'll get a video on some of the things that were said on the Omelet stage that was not... No, Thunder stage is not broadcast. That's the stuff I want to talk about, and I want to talk about the stuff in the Omelet stage as well that was broadcast. It's up there right now. I'll probably pull that stuff down the next couple days, make a little list of it. You'll have a second video for me, probably Monday. We're talking Monday for the video and the breakdown of the Q&A and the other stuff that happened on stage. Teaser trailers, my first priority right now, folks. Just saying. All right, so what was Moraine saying through that whole thing? Well, basically, she was alluding to the fact that in every future, in every possibility that happened, Rand loses if she doesn't die, essentially. And that's a theme from the books. It totally is. Swag in the Fires of Heaven. Spoiler warning for this. Not everyone, of course, that has watched this far has read the books, and so you may not know what that means. But essentially, Moraine goes out in a blaze of glory fighting Lanfear in the streets of Cairhien, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, we've already kind of done a bit of the storyline, I think, from earlier where she possibly loses her power and things that are going on, and she's going through a hard time and whatnot. But I honestly think we're seeing that next season, folks. I think we're seeing the death of Moraine, and there was all kinds of talk about it. There's been rumors. Rosamund Pike has left Prague. She moved back to London. This happened during just after the finished filming for season 3. And she stayed out there because she had put so much focus on Moraine. So I think we're going to see that iconic fight between Moraine and Lanfear next season. I think they're going to duke it out, and I think Moraine's gonna maybe bite the big one. Are we going to see them fall through a red twisted stone door frame to the Aelfin and Elfin realm? I don't know. I don't think so, folks. I think it's going to be something a little bit different, but I think we are going to see that big epic battle next season. And I think that means that Lanfear possibly is also done for next season. Those two actresses may not come back for the show again. We'll see. But that's my guess on that. That's what the voiceover is alluding to. It's a big theme in the Fires of Heaven. And very excited to see that played out on the screen. So let me know in the comments down below, folks, what did you guys think of the teaser trailer? I thought it was absolutely wild. Bonkers. Like I said, if you're a book fan and you're on the fence about the show, this is it, folks. Come back. You're going to need to see season 3. March 13th, first 3 episodes drop. Watch them back to back to back. And I will say this. I implore you folks right now, if you do not have a Prime membership, if you cancel it in between shows, when you renew that Prime membership, do it on the 13th and make the first thing you watch Wheel of Time. Send a very strong message to Amazon and Sony that that's what you want, that's what you like, that's what you need, and that they need to do a season 4. Like I said in a couple of videos before, season 4 is still up in the air. It hasn't been greenlit yet. There is a lot of money tied up in this for both companies. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market right now. Season 3 is going to be absolutely fire, and it deserves a season 4, a season 5, and a season 6 to carry on in that vein. They had a lot of hurdles first 2 seasons. They're done, folks. This is pure Wheel of Time. Like, it's going to be good. They need the time to do it. So again, if you don't have Prime right now, sub on the 13th of March. Make sure your Wheel of Time is the very first thing you watch. And if you really, 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 really feel strongly about the show, you can write Sony. Catherine Pope. She's the one head of Sony TV right now. You can write Amazon. You can tag them in social media. You can do anything you want. Just say you want more Wheel of Time. The more people that are saying this, the more people that watch the show, the more numbers they get, the more people that resub for this show, goes to show that we're getting what we want out of Amazon and Sony, and that is more Wheel of Time. So these are things you guys can do if you really truly want a season 4. And again, I know a lot of you watch my videos, didn't like the first 2 seasons, and you couldn't care less if there's a season 4, but don't let the death of someone else's joy be your pleasure. Give it a shot again. Try season 3. You're not going to be disappointed. Watch the first 3 episodes and make your decision at that point. And then, if you like it, make sure you're loud about it online. Anyway, thank you all very much. I hope you enjoyed my breakdown of the teaser trailer. I certainly did. Thank you so much for staying with us here to the very end. And here's to many more.